Today I'm going to be doing my top 10 vehicles for Warzone and Halo 5. Before I get into anything, I just want to say thank you everyone for 7,000 subscribers. It's absolutely amazing how we're at this point. Hope to keep going strong from this point onward. You guys have been requesting I do this video for a very long time, and I wanted to wait until a lot more vehicles were out, and I know more updates are coming in the future, so as of this post, this will be after the Warzone Firefight update, so anything that comes after that point will not be in this video. So with that being said, let's get into number 10. When it comes to these two tanks, it's really hard to say which one is better, and even though I did say I preferred the Hannibal Scorpion over the Oni Scorpion, that does not mean that I think that it is better than it at all. It just means I have a different playstyle, and these tanks are too similar in strength together that I did not want to put them apart or make one go above the other. And you might be wondering, why are these powerful tanks only number 10 on the list? Well, that's because strength isn't everything, and these tanks have very negative side effects to them. For example, one of them being that they're very slow, they're also very big, and they're all susceptible to camo because they're ground vehicles. These tanks are very strong, which is a given, but the maps that are designed around them and the movement speed that they have and all the negatives that they have with it do not really compensate for the fact that they have high damage, and that's why they're on number 10. Regardless, they're still very powerful wrecks, and I do recommend using them whenever you get the chance. When the Hannibal Mantis came into the game, it was a huge step up from the Oni Mantis. It was the first time that the Mantis actually had purpose in Halo 5. As you guys may know, that the Mantises in Halo 5 were not really the greatest, but the Hannibal Mantis, when it came in, had showed some promise. It had some really powerful weapons to go with it, backing up the fact that its movement was pretty decent as well. Its rockets were really fast firing and also really good reload speed. Its Gauss turret was pretty powerful as well. You can shoot it at a far distance, so you can keep a good range with the Mantis is what it really needed, and this vehicle definitely thrived on that. But again, it is a ground vehicle, and that's why it's number 9 on the list, because it can still be susceptible to camo. It's a big target, can be taken down by lasers pretty easily, and can be EMP'd very easily as well. Nonetheless, it's still a very, very powerful vehicle. At 7 wrecks, I highly recommend this vehicle. At the beginning of Halo 5, people have been saying that the Ghost Ultra is overpowered, and I agree, and I still agree to this day. This vehicle that has a lot of armor, does explosive rounds, and can boost and splatter people is very, very powerful. However, now that everyone has a grasp on their own wrecks and has a lot of low-level wrecks at their disposal to take out these vehicles, the Ghost Ultra hasn't really been too much of a problem anymore. However, it's still one of the most powerful early game wrecks, and I recommend it. The only reason it is number 8 on this list is because of the fact that it is an early game wreck, and with that it has a lot of bodily exposure. You can take it down very easily with snipers and anything else in the mid to late game, but as the early game progression, this vehicle is definitely one of the most powerful. The Temple Ghost is coming in at number 7 on this list because, just like the Ghost Ultra, it is a very good low-level ground vehicle. Unlike the Ghost Ultra, the Temple Ghost has a much faster boost speed and increased mobility, meaning its strafing and turning is a lot more quicker to react, so you slow down and move to that other distance that you want to look at or move towards a lot quicker. This means you can dodge a lot of shots, you can evade a lot of people, and you can also get behind people a lot quicker, and you can keep multi-kills going a lot better. The reason why it's number 7 instead of number 8 instead of the Ghost Ultra is because it might not have explosive rounds. It is very, very good for getting in and out of situations and taking down Spartans with ease. The Temple Ghost thrives on getting in and out of situations while taking little to no damage. Although it might have the same armor as the Ultra Ghost, it is more better to use it to get into an area, take out as many enemies before they have a chance to react, and get out of the area. This is why the Temple Ghost thrives more than the Ultra Ghost, is because of its very good mobility and speed. It gives it a higher survival rate, meaning you can rack up kill streaks and multi-kills a lot more easier. Because of this makes the Temple Ghost a very, very good low-level wreck, and I highly recommend it. The Phaeton in the beginning was definitely one of the lesser favored vehicles by many due to the fact that it had very weak armor for its cost, but now that thanks to the Wheelman perk, I can safely say that this is one of the better vehicles in the game, mainly to the fact that it can take a lot of hits and also deal a lot of damage, and it's an air vehicle, so that's a plus as well. However, the downside to it is that its charge-up chain gun makes you have to focus on an enemy on the ground for a elongated amount of time, meaning you don't really have any time to look around for any hostile weapons and vehicles coming after you. That is the one downside to this vehicle, but the Phaeton in itself is definitely a very good vehicle for its rec cost now, and I highly recommend it. The Wasp is one of the most controversial vehicles in this game because of the fact that when it was released, people have been saying on both sides of the argument that it is too weak or it is too strong. And I'm here to say, in my opinion, I believe that it's perfectly balanced. The reason why people think it's too strong is because of the fact that it can fly, which I do agree a 3-rec early game flying vehicle is extremely powerful. It is very good for pushing bases and getting those objectives in the very beginning. And people have been saying that it's very weak because of the fact that you need a long focused amount of time with the chain gun to take down enemies. However, the way this vehicle is meant to be played is not to do so much damage to the enemies and get kills, more so to push those objectives and get those bases captured while pushing the enemy back. However, if you're more of a skilled player with precision shots, you are able to take the enemy down with the direct hits of the rockets, because that is your main source of damage. The chain gun is more so to finish off enemies, not really to initiate the fight. This vehicle is definitely a very, very strong vehicle for the fact that it is a 3-rec air vehicle. It gives you that aerial domination in the beginning of the game, and you can destroy enemies very easy. However, it is a very, very weak vehicle, it has very low armor, and you have to prioritize that shield and your mobility to keep yourself alive in the beginning. If more than one person is focusing you, you can guarantee that your HP is going to drop very significantly and you will die. Even so, with that said, this vehicle is very powerful and I highly, highly recommend it. Moving up in the ranks, we have the regular Banshee and the Sword Banshee. These vehicles are by far one of the best vehicles in the game, due to the fact that it has the best mobility and best armor as well. By that I mean, it might not have the best initial armor in terms of taking the damage, but it does have a shield that can absorb most of the damage, and because of that will allow you to stay alive for a long amount of time. The Banshee has always been a shining vehicle within the Halo games, and Halo 5 is no different. In fact, it is even advanced even more in Halo 5 now, the fact that it has a shield, the boosts, the barrel rolls, and the backflips are all enhanced, and it can give this vehicle a huge advantage on the field if used right. Also, the removal of the collision damage within the vehicle against objects and terrain allows you to do crazy maneuvers with the vehicle and get up close with the enemy and do some insane splatters. Also, while the main gun, the plasma cannon, is mostly useless due to the fact that you have to focus the enemy for a long amount of time, and it's not really good at magnetizing towards the enemy, that weapon is not really a viable weapon to use. However, the secondary, the Banshee Bomb, is usually the primary used weapon by most Banshee pilots, mainly because it's an explosive bomb that if it hits near the enemy or directly hits the enemy will be an instant kill. This, used in conjunction with the barrel rolls, backflips, and boost, can allow you to get some serious kills if done right. Also, the Banshee is very good at taking down enemy AI bosses. However, even though it might not have that high of damage in the mid-tier game, it still has very, very good support damage and can do very good damage to any boss generally. The Banshee and Sword Banshee is by far one of the best vehicles in the game, and although it's only ranked 4 on my top 10, it definitely is one of my favorite vehicles and is definitely worth the 6-rec investment. I never would have expected a vehicle to outshine a Banshee, but here it is. The Phaeton Helios is one of the most strongest vehicles in the game. Being able to output so much damage and accuracy in its attacks, you can take out all vehicles, enemies, Spartans, and AIs with no problem whatsoever. this vehicle has insane amount of damage, and although it's a Phaeton, so dodging Spartan lasers, railguns, and rockets are still a problem for it, it still compensates for the fact that it can deal so much damage that you can take out enemies before they have a chance to shoot at you. This vehicle is absolutely dominant when it comes to destroying enemies in their bases, enemy vehicles, enemy AI. It is one of the most powerful things. You can call it an Oni Scorpion in the air, basically. When in conjunction with Wheelman, it has such a low EMP time, so you don't have to worry about being hijacked as well. Since it's in the air, you don't have to worry about camo as well. Taking out enemy Banshees is also a breeze, unless if it's the Temple or the Ultra Banshee, due to the fact that the Ultra Banshee and the Temple Banshee can shoot faster Banshee bombs. The regular Banshee and Sword Banshee are no problem whatsoever. It can take down any other vehicle so easily. It's actually amazing how much this thing can do. Well worth the wreck cost, well worth the investment. The Phaeton Helios definitely deserves number 3 on this list. The almighty Banshee Ultra comes in at number 2 on this spot because it is one of the most powerful vehicles in the game, if not the most powerful vehicle in the game. It has extremely high consistent damage, can take down any type of vehicle, AI, or Spartan with ease. The Banshee Ultra's Banshee Bomb has an extremely high reload speed. On top of that, it has a consistent burst explosive that can destroy anything in its path. It destroys all the vehicles extremely easily, including the high armored Oni Scorpion and Handable Scorpion. Because of the high mobility feats such as the backflip, barrel roll, and boost as well to compensate for its high damage, this vehicle absolutely outmaneuvers everything in the game and just completely powerhouses through everything. The Banshee Ultra already had high armor enough as it is, but with the Wheelman update has given this vehicle an extreme edge in protection, mobility, survivability, and damage. It has given it an insane amount of EMP resistance since the Wheelman, and it can take a lot of hits and stay alive very easily. It can take on a whole enemy team and come out unscathed most of the time, since it has a shield as well because it's a Banshee. The Banshee Ultra is definitely one of the most destructive vehicles in the game and has earned number 2 on this list. However, despite all of its positive perks that it has, there is still one more vehicle that is beyond the Banshee Ultra. And the number 1 spot is the Temple Banshee. That's right, this vehicle, in my opinion, is just better than the Banshee Ultra. It surpasses in its mobility and survivability, and if you know me, then you know that damage isn't everything in this game. If you can stay alive, you can do the damage over time. This Banshee has the better mobility than the Banshee Ultra, and don't get me wrong, the Banshee Ultra is a fantastic vehicle. I love the Banshee Ultra so much, but the Temple Banshee just outranks the Banshee Ultra in its mobility, and because of that reason, this vehicle is taking number 1. This vehicle has dominated so much for me when I first got it, and it's just definitely the Banshee for me. It's the vehicle I've been looking for a little while now. Since the Banshee Ultra came out, I've always wanted a little bit more. I know I sound a bit greedy, but this vehicle just feels so perfect for me. It is my dream vehicle. The Temple Banshee, in my opinion, is the best vehicle in the game. I love this vehicle so much. It has done so much for me since its release, and had it have been here since the beginning of the game, I'm sure I would have been able to get some serious achievements with it. But nonetheless, it is very, very good. And even though the Banshee Ultra does insane amount of damage and is still one of the most viable vehicles in the game, the Temple Banshee just outranks it in every other way I can look at it. And because of that, the Temple Banshee is my number 1 vehicle. So that is it for my top 10 list. I know everyone has a different opinion on different vehicles, but this was just my top 10 vehicle list. I've used all of these vehicles multiple amount of times, and I wanted to give a fair review on all of them. Thank you guys so much for 7,000 subscribers once again, and I will see you all in the next video.